Hey, welcome. I want to talk about how a small audience can make you and your business more money. First of all, the relief that you don't need a massive audience to start to make decent revenue in your business. A small audience that you build through real engagement and loyalty can make you more money because that audience actually knows who you are and what you do. They trust you, they engage with what you post, and when they engage with what you post enough, they will start to buy from you when you have something that is relevant to them to sell. Now, this is exactly what has happened in my business. I've achieved consistent high 5-figure revenue without a massive audience. And the audience that I do have, lots of those ladies know me really, really well. They've been with me for a long time, and as a result, they buy from me. Now, when you have a big audience, the chances are that most of that audience won't even see your content, because we know that social spaces like Instagram only share your content with a small percentage of your followers. That means that half of that big audience or more, they probably don't know you. They probably scroll past when you post content. And when you launch something, there's crickets. Now, I've seen this happen over and over again with lots of different social accounts. Someone with 50,000 or 100,000 followers launches a product and makes $500 at best. But then there's other accounts with 5,000 followers and they launch the same type of product and they can make £6,000-7,000. And the difference is that one of those accounts built a really engaged audience, whereas the other accounts just built massive crowds that look good on the surface. There's a huge difference between those two things. So in this video, I want to share why a small, engaged audience is the most valuable thing that you can build in your business, and how big your audience actually needs to be to make you some real money, and the exact strategy that I use myself and with clients to help build audiences that buy, not just follow. So let's start with a lie that everyone has been sold online, and the online business space has convinced you that you need tens of thousands of followers to be able to make money. That if you're not growing fast, you're failing, that more followers equals more money. But here's what they're not telling you. Most of those big accounts, their engagement is terrible. I see it all the time. They may have 50,000 or 100,000 plus followers, but only 200 people are seeing what they post. And of those 200 people, only 10 may actually care enough to buy. Now compare that to somebody that has 2,000 followers, but those followers are highly engaged and the right people. So 500 see every post and then 50 of them engage. Now, who do you think makes the most money? The second person every time, because no matter what anyone says, size doesn't matter. It's connection and engagement that matters. So here's what you actually need. You need an audience of people who know what you do, who trust that you are the person that can help them, and that they are actively looking for a solution to some sort of problem they have. Now, it could be 500 people, it could be 2,000 people, but it definitely doesn't need to be 50,000 people. In fact, I have made consistent 5 figures in my business with an audience on Instagram of under 3,000 people. A lot of those 3,000 people were just the right people for me and my business. So obsessing over our follower counts is something that we shouldn't do. What we do need to do is to start obsessing over connection. But here's the question that everybody then asks me next. Well, Jenny, you talk about connection, but how do I actually build an audience that buys instead of just follows? And I want to show you how you do that in this video, because there's a massive difference between someone who follows you and someone who wants to buy from you. Followers are people that just consume your content. They may like it, they may save it, but then they move on. Zero interest in buying from you. But buyers, they see themselves in what it is you're saying, and they feel like you understand their exact problem. And they also believe that you are the business that has the solution for them. Now, most people are building follower audiences, not buyer audiences. They're creating content that gets likes and shares, but it doesn't lead to sales. Why? Because those businesses are trying to speak to everyone. They're trying to speak to the vastness of the universe. They're trying to capture as many people as they can. And when you try and speak to everyone, you connect with no one. So I had a client who came to me really frustrated. She had more than 20,000 followers on Facebook, and her reels were getting thousands of views, but she was making nothing in her business. And we had to take a look at her content, and we realized the problem immediately, which is that the content that she was creating was content that was bringing the wrong audience to her, an audience that wanted to consume her content, but not an audience that wanted to buy from her. She wasn't speaking directly to the right person and to the specific pain that right person had. So we shifted her strategy, and she started to show up and speak more directly to the right person. And then she started talking to that right person in a way where she was connecting with the pains that that person had. And as a result, she started then to attract better people to her. And she's now got an audience that's growing that is a much more aligned audience, and that means that the revenue is going to start coming in. Here's how you build an audience that actually wants to buy from you. First of all, you have got to get really specific about who you're talking to. Not just female entrepreneurs, not just busy moms. You've got to get so specific that you could describe one person in detail. You could describe what her exact problem is. You could describe what she's tried that hasn't worked. You could describe what she needs to believe to buy from you. And when you've done that, you then need to create content that speaks directly to that one person's pain. Not tips, not motivation, not platitudes, not quotes. Content that says, I see you, I understand you, I hear you, I know what you're going through, and here's how I can help. Then you have to show up consistently in the same place to keep delivering that message. You can't be everywhere. So you pick one or two platforms where your ideal customer actually is. Now, when you choose one or two platforms, I also want to recommend that out of those two platforms, one of them is your biggest priority. That is the place, that is the right place that your audience is already visible. That is the place where your audience is already hanging out the most. And that is the place that you are going to commit to consistently, not just in terms of you showing up there, but in terms of you learning deeply how to use the platform the way the platform wants you to use it. Two things that people don't do. They just chuck in out surface content that doesn't get them results. So you need to pick 1 to 2 social platforms. One is your priority, second is your backup. So for me, Facebook, number 1 priority. I still think it's the best platform out there as a social media platform. Instagram is my secondary, but my biggest focus is on my Facebook, because I know that's where my audience is. I know that's where my audience is most engaged. I know that's where I can get the biggest growth with an aligned audience that actually want what it is I offer. So once you have chosen 1 or 2 social platforms that are the right spaces for you, you have to commit to showing up there consistently. You have to build trust in those spaces, and that's it. There isn't any chasing viral gimmicks, hacks, or trends. Show up there consistently, build trust there. That's it. That's how you turn followers into buyers, when you are speaking to your ideal client in a way that resonates with them. Now, I know what you may be thinking. What if you're already doing all of that and your audience still isn't converting? Well, let me tell you what's probably going wrong. If you have an audience and they're not buying, one of 3 things is likely to be happening. I see this all the time. Someone comes to me and they say, I have 5,000 followers. Why am I not making consistent sales? And when I look at their business, it is always one of these 3 problems that is causing that issue to happen. Problem number 1, you're not talking about what you sell. You're creating content, you're showing up, but you're not actually telling people what you do or how they can work with you. And as a result, you're just hoping they'll figure it out, and they won't. You have got to be prepared to show up and tell people what you do, how you help, and what it is you're going to solve for them. Problem 2 is you've built the wrong audience, which is what happened to my client that I've already explained to you earlier in this episode. You are following the advice that is just about grow your audience. So you've created viral content or trending content, or you've bought into noise and gimmicks, hoping it will bring the people to you. And now you may have followers, but they're the wrong people. They're not going to be customers. They never will be. They are not the people who need what you sell. Problem number 3, you don't have a clear offer. People don't actually know what they're trying to buy from you. They don't know whether it's for them. They don't know what result they're going to get from your offer. So they don't buy. And all 3 of these problems are fixable, which is brilliant. But you have to be willing to get clear and get very specific. So here's how we fix this. If you're not talking about what you sell, you've got to start. Every week, create at least one piece of content that clearly explains what you do, who you help, who it's for, and what you solve. Then make it very easy for them to understand how they can work with you or buy from you. Make it easy for people to say yes. If you built the wrong audience, then please stop trying to go viral. Please stop chasing trends, gimmicks, and hacks. Instead, start creating content that better speaks directly to that one ideal customer that you have defined. When you do that, the right people will find you and the wrong people will unfollow you, which you want. That's a good thing. If your offer isn't clear, go back to basics. Who is your offer for? What problem does it solve for them? What result will they get from you if they buy? Answer those 3 questions clearly and your offer becomes much easier to sell. Then you can go out and start putting content out that speaks about that offer. So you know now why a small audience is better and why you don't want to be chasing these massive viral audiences. But let me share with you the actual strategy I use with my clients to help make their content work for that smaller audience. This is called the quiet business model. It's very key to everything I teach. And it's the exact opposite of what everyone else online is telling you to do. Everyone else is saying be on every platform, post multiple times a day, follow every trend, go viral, grow fast, hustle 24/7. And what happens? You end up burning out. You feel scattered. You feel completely overwhelmed. And you're creating content constantly, but it's not making you any money. The quiet business model is different. It's not about going deep, it's about going wide. That means that I'm going to get you to focus on fewer platforms, but show up consistently in the spaces that you choose. It means that I'm going to encourage you to build real relationships with your audience instead of just chasing follower numbers. And it means that I'm going to help you create a business that fits around your life rather than your life having to fit around your business, which as women is something that we need. Now, I had a client come to me completely burnt out. She was on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Pinterest, email list, other places. She was posting everywhere, following all of the trends. Her audience was growing, but she wasn't making any money. And she was completely exhausted and actually ready to give it all up. So we worked together and we stripped her entire business right back. We looked at where her ideal customers actually were, which was Facebook and Instagram. And that was it. Those were her 2 priority social spaces, Facebook being the first one. So we built a strategy around those 2 platforms. And she started posting consistently and she was cross-sharing content from Facebook to Instagram, stopped posting everywhere else, went really deep on Facebook, started to build real connection with people on her page and her Facebook group, started to have conversations, started to engage, started to give value consistently. And guess what happened? Within 90 days, her Facebook page exploded and then she started to get sales and money in the bank. And that growth on her Facebook has continued even to this day. It wasn't because she was doing more. She was actually doing less, but doing it better and in the right spaces. And that's how the quiet business model works. So step 1 is pick 1 to 2 social platforms where you know your ideal customers actually are. Not where you think they should be, not where everyone else is, not where you like being, where your people are. For most of my clients selling digital products or coaches that are offering services or creatives that are teaching, this is Facebook number 1 and then Instagram number 2. Show up there consistently. Make your first platform your priority platform. Your second is your backup. Build a foundational content plan that you can use in those spaces. Not a new strategy every month, not reinventing the wheel consistently, not jumping on every gimmick hack or trend. A plan you follow consistently. And that may be for you 1 post a day, 5 days a week on Facebook that you then cross-post over to Instagram. And it may be then that you add 1 email a week in that you send out to your list, which you should be doing. That's a priority. But in terms of social spaces, whatever works for your life and for your business, because the plan is consistency, not volume. And then when you've chosen your top 2 social spaces, your focus is on engagement. You cannot post and disappear. You've got to start conversations. You've got to reply to comments, and not just with a simple thanks. You reply to comments to start to get conversation going with people so that there's this 2-way chat going on. And once that 2-way chat starts going on, those people will start to buy into you much more. Not only that, if you're on Facebook, the platform will see those conversations happening and it will send your content out to more people. It's a win-win situation. No viral hacks, no trending audio, no entertaining content that is the latest challenge, just engaging content that spark conversation and you start to get into talking with people in comments. It can completely transform your social media success on Facebook and on other platforms as well, but Facebook loves that sort of thing. So your goal is to build relationships, because that's what then turns followers into buyers. You have to talk about what you sell. You can't be British about this. So the 80-20 rule here applies. 80% of your content is value given, 20% is when you're showing up and you're selling. So at least once or twice a week, show up and share some content that is talking about what you offer and how it helps. Don't be shy. Don't hide your offer. Your audience needs to know how you can help them. So the next thing is you've got to build your email list. This is a complete non-negotiable because social media platforms can disappear, algorithms can change. Your email list is that stable place and it's yours. So you use your content in your surface spaces, your social spaces, to drive people to your list. And then you start to nurture people when they're on your list by staying in contact with them. Guess what? Consistently. That's where most of your sales will come from over the longer haul if you do that. Now, look, I know what you might be thinking right now. What about growth, Jenny? Won't I grow slower if I'm only on 1 or 2 social platforms? So let me address that. Here's what no one tells you about fast growth. It looks impressive. 10,000 followers in a month looks great, doesn't it? It's kind of that thing that we wish for, that viral post that makes us then think, oh my God, this is it. Those huge numbers that start coming at us and we think, oh my God, I've made it. But here's what happens behind the scenes. Most of those followers don't know who you are. They followed perhaps because of 1 post that went viral, but they're not really that engaged with you and they're really not that interested in what it is you're selling, so they're never going to buy. And now you're stuck trying to serve an audience that isn't even your ideal customer. I've had it happen to more than one lady in my community. Someone goes viral, they get thousands of followers off that viral piece of content, and then crickets. Those followers weren't the right people. So if we compare that to slow, intentional growth, let's say you're growing by 10, 20, 50, 100 followers a month in your spaces. But every single one of those followers is somebody that found you because your content spoke directly to their problem, the thing they are looking to solve. And as a result, they engaged, they joined your email list, and eventually they will then buy. That's the kind of growth that actually builds a sustainable business longer term. So I'd rather have 1,000 engaged ideal customers than 50,000 random followers who will never buy from me. And my clients who embrace this slower, quiet business model strategy, they're the ones that are making consistent money. They're not having one big launch and then nothing. They're making consistent revenue in their businesses month after month after month. And they've done that because they've built the right audience. No gimmicks, no hacks, no trends, no chasing viral stuff. Here's what you need to remember. Fast growth does not equal more money. Engaged audience equals more money. You don't need thousands of followers to build a profitable business. You need the right people who know what you do, who trust you, who are engaged with you, and who at some point then become ready to buy. And they will. You build that through showing up consistently in the right places. We've spoken about this, 1 to 2 spaces that are the right spaces for you. You speak directly to the pains that those people are suffering. You start to build real relationships with them by giving value. You make it very easy for them to buy. You talk about what it is you sell and what it's going to solve for them. That's it. That's the strategy. It's not sexy. It's not fast, but it works. Following that type of slower strategy with a quiet business model won't burn you out. It won't leave you feeling scattered and all over the place. And you'll actually start to enjoy your business again because it will work around your life. You'll feel like you can breathe again. And all of this will lead to you making more money than you ever did chasing trends and trying to be everywhere. So if you're tired of chasing numbers and you're really ready to build an audience that actually wants to buy from you, here's how I can help. Inside my membership 40K Club, this is exactly the strategy that we work on. We build your quiet business model that's right for you and your business, unique to your business. We figure out who your ideal customers are. We create a foundational plan you can follow all year through. We start building an engaged audience that over time wants to buy. We do it without noise. We do it without gimmicks. We do it without trends. We do it without hacks. We do it without burnout. So if that sounds like what you need, I've dropped the link to 40K Club in show notes. Come and join us. I'd love to help you on your journey. And if this video helped you, can I ask a small favour? Save it or share it with another business owner who needs to hear this message. And let me know in the comments what has been your biggest takeaway from this episode. I'd love to know, and I'll catch you again next time. Take care for now. Bye-bye.